I am in the midst of a pretty challenging experience right now, dear ones, and I believe that you might be going through something similar, so I am sharing one more solo episode before we get back to our guest episodes, and we have an amazing one next week with investigative journalist Scott Carney talking all about the wellness guru grifters who are taking advantage of our attention, time, money, and resources. But that's for next week. I believe that our lives are being stolen one swipe at a time. And you'll know what this feels like if you ever find yourself picking up your phone and thinking, I'm just going to check something. And then an hour later, you're there swiping through some random stuff on Instagram or on whatever platform. No idea how you ended up there and wondering what's happening to your life. And the thing is, it's actually not your fault that this is happening. This is what these apps are designed to do. It is, however, your responsibility because no one's coming to save you. If you are a long-time listener to this podcast, you know that I believe that we are already free. That's the point of this podcast. That's the mantra that I bring through every episode, is this remembrance of our liberty, our sovereignty, our capacity to make choices and focus on the things that we care about. I'm starting to wonder if we really are already free if we spend so much of every day hooked into these devices, taking action on the things that we don't actually want to take action on. But if you're finding yourself more distracted than ever, struggling to take action and feeling more out of control with the way that you use your devices, then this episode is for you because I'm in the midst of it myself. I'm a guide, a facilitator, a coach. I rely on social media and have for many years to connect me with the people who end up becoming my clients. I was also a professional musician for 10 years and built a successful Patreon page through things like social media. And yet I have been wrestling with it for almost the entire time for exactly this reason. I am wondering, does it take more than it gives? If you're wondering the same thing, then please listen to this episode. It's really just to gift you an opportunity to make a different choice, because what I'm seeing is less and less in-person community, connection, live music, nature, presence, joy, purpose, all the things that I believe you came here for, that I came here for, that are actually an embodiment of that belief that we are already free. What I also observe in myself and others are an increase in the feelings of hopelessness, fear, apathy, frustration, disconnection, and exhaustion. That's what today's episode is going to be about. I'm going to offer you my idea of the first step in reclaiming your focus, reconnecting with what you came here to live in this life, to embody in this present moment. I'm going to share that at the end. But for now, welcome back to We Are Already Free. I'm Nathan Maingard. It is an honor to be here with you today. When you hear the words, we are already free, what comes up for you?
Acceptance.
Change.
A shift in awareness.
Human beings are so powerful.
There's so much more.
Everything is love behind it.
Breaking the chains of your own mind.
That which remains.
Nature.
Getting out of the matrix.
We're sitting on the treasure and it's already unlocked.
We are already free.
You're free.
You are a walking map.
I've always been free.
You are always free. Already free.
We are already free.
Starting off on the concept that things are not working out with social media. It doesn't take care of us. I've read multiple books now. Stolen Focus, Indistractable, Dopamine Nation really lays out the harm that these distracting apps are using. And it's not just apps. There's a lot of other social elements to why we're losing focus, but the outcomes are harmful. What are we looking for? What's on the other side if we manage to reclaim our power, reclaim our focus, and actually live as though we are already free? What's on the other side of that? What is a good life? In thinking about sharing this with you, I came up with basically three things: clarity, connection, and creation. Not necessarily in that order, although I believe clarity comes first. And clarity here is purpose. When I was struggling with burnout and depression some years ago, and I just couldn't see a reason to get out of bed anymore, one of several things, but it was one of the most important that really helped me was getting clear on my purpose. Most people misunderstand what purpose is as far as I can see. My teacher who trained me in inner life skills, she has a beautiful story of an apple tree. Like, imagine that you're an apple tree. Growing apples isn't what you do. It is a result of what you do. The apples, the fruit is the result of what you do. So you don't have to know that you're an apple tree. You don't have to know that the outcome is going to be apples. All you have to know is what allows the sap to flow through your body, or lifeblood. And you know what that is. That's letting your roots absorb the nutrients and your leaves wave in the sun and drink in the rain. And obviously, you have different things in your own life, but getting clear on purpose is actually getting clear on what are those actions, what are those behaviors that support your lifeblood in flowing. And then you're moving from a state of being rather than doing. Coming from being, taking action in doing, not the other way around. And so that's the first one. We have to get clear on purpose. And we can't do that while we're distracted all the time. That takes time. It takes reflection. It takes looking into ourselves and asking these important questions about who we really are and what really matters to us. The next piece is connection. And connection is critical for all of us as humans. As I'm sure you know, we are social animals. We are currently in a time in our society of basically a pandemic of isolation, which has real physiological impacts, that the more isolated people are, the more vulnerable they are to illness, to actual disease. And just on every level, you can see it if you look at it as society. And in your own life, have your friendships got deeper and expanded or less? Do you find yourself missing those deeper connections that you used to take for granted? If so, connection is what you need. And connection comes through the act of clarity on what matters to us, finding the people who care about that and connecting with them and taking action together. And that is then creation. So each of us has this creation we're here to bring. That's the thing that we want to practice every day, the thing that brings us joy, the thing that serves our community, serves the connections in our lives. What happens to your art, your writing, your music, your parenting, your business, your service, when your mind is your own, when you have reclaimed your attention, your focus from these algorithmic attention vampires of the social media platforms? I'll just share my own story here, is that I have recently deleted all the apps off my phone, and I immediately have noticed that I'm more creative. I'm more present with my child and my wife. I'm more present in my life. I'm playing more music. I'm just feeling more capacity for the stuff that I'm here to do. I'm writing every day. I'm sharing things like this more consistently. So I really believe that the payoff for taking that conscious decision to remove these apps, create boundaries between ourselves and these apps. I'm going to give you a lot of really cool ways to do that in just a moment. So do stick around if that feels overwhelming for you. But that's a big one, is this creativity. The capacity to create more of what we want in the world increases massively when we can take action. If you're wondering, why does this really matter? Why creativity? We need practicality. We need solutions. We need more food. Every solution that we need for the world right now requires creativity beyond what we have thus far brought to bear. And I believe that when each of us as individuals takes action aligned with our purpose, aligned with what makes us come alive, that changes the world. That is the thing the world needs. And there's a beautiful quote, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. That's something to base our lives on. That's something to live for. And I'll give you one more quote that I really love. The plain fact is that the planet does not need more successful people, but it does desperately need more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of every kind. It needs people who live well in their places. It needs people of moral courage, willing to join the fight to make the world more habitable and humane. And these qualities have little to do with success as we have defined it. It's David Orr that said that. And so this is what I'm inviting for all of us, because I believe that your creativity, your creative energy, you coming alive is the most incredible thing you can offer the world. And I'd like to invite you to take a stand against these algorithmic vampires that we call social media, and in fact step into the real connection of showing up for who you really are, showing up for your creativity, for your connections with the people you care about, to become that alive energy that fruits something that feeds the people in need, whether that is storytelling or whether that is being an engineer or a lawyer or whatever that thing is that the world needs so desperately from you right now, because it makes you come alive. I'd like to invite you to the 21-day dopamine detox that I have put together. This is an experiment. We did it once before in December and had phenomenal results. Even with people who use social media as their work, as I do, they also had really profound results. It's not about stopping. It's not about saying, you can never do this again. It's about saying, how do I use this instead of being used by it? How do I come into responsible, right relationship with this For some people, that might be completely getting off the platforms, which is probably a good idea in the long run. But for others, it might just be creating healthy, safe boundaries so that we can use it rather than the other way around. This is kind of a training ground for developing that good life, for starting to get clear on what is the actual cost. The average that an adult is on their phones, 3 hours a day. That's 21 hours a week. That's almost 1 day out of every 7. That is 6 weeks out of every year, scrolling life away. Your life is being stolen. They are doing it intentionally because it makes more money the more attention you give to these apps, the more data they have on you, and the more they can sell and farm your attention to sell to the highest bidder. There is a better way, so please join the 21-day Dopamine Detox Challenge. It is free currently and launching in just a few days at the time of recording this. There will be a waiting list if you've missed the launch. It's July 22nd. We are doing our first live gathering. It's a 3-week challenge. It is free to join at alreadyfree.me/reset. I would be honored to have you there. I've put this together with all the knowledge I've gathered from books like Dopamine Nation and Stolen Focus to help us all take this first step in the direction of reclamation. Because I want us to remember that we are already free. And how can we do that when our attention is being shattered by these platforms? Our capacity to focus and enter flow states is being destroyed. I hope you'll join me. Please let me know if you have any questions. As I said earlier, we will be beginning again our guest episodes from next week. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I hope to see you there. alreadyfree.me/reset. We will have daily prompts, weekly live gatherings. There's a bunch of other people taking the journey with you. Thank you for being here with me. And until then, please do remember that we are already free.